In this video, we'll be taking a look at 2 college football games happening on September 8, 2023, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games. So 2 picks for each game, 4 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 2 college football games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start. If you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Indiana versus Indiana State. The Indiana State Sycamores and the Indiana Hoosiers meet Friday in college football action from The Rock. Indiana State is 0-1 on the young season following a blowout loss versus Eastern Illinois. As for Indiana, they're coming off a home matchup versus Ohio State. In that one, the Hoosiers took a 20-point loss. The Sycamores started out their year last Thursday versus Eastern Illinois, and things didn't go very well. Indiana State was down 18-0 by halftime and ended up limping to a 27-0 blowout loss. Quarterback Gavin Screws posted just 116 yards with a pair of interceptions, and Evan Ollies also had 2 picks on 0 of 2 passing. If there was an MVP from the Sycamores opening game, it was Dakota Catton, who led the receivers with 6 receptions for 70 yards. Defensively, the team wasn't terrible, holding Eastern Illinois to 17 first downs and 5 of 1-2 on third down tries. That said, the 6 turnovers and rough offensive showing doomed Indiana State to a big loss. Over on the Hoosiers side, they had a big chore in front of them for their first outing of the year against Ohio State. In that one, Indiana gave up points in every quarter along the way to a 23-3 loss. Quarterback Brendan Sorsby posted just 58 yards, and Christian Turner led the rush on 29 yards from 7 carries. Cam Camper caught 3 balls for 35 yards total as well. The Hoosiers were understandably overmatched in just about every facet of the game against Ohio State, and there aren't too many great numbers here. Indiana had just 153 yards of total offense, 10 first downs, 8 penalties, and 5 of 1-5 on third down tries. The Hoosiers' defense did hold Ohio State to just 2 of 1-2 on third downs, but it didn't matter much on the scoreboard. Indiana State had a rough opener showing opposite a tepid effort from Eastern Illinois. The Sycamores came up with just 219 total yards in that one and couldn't get out of their own way when it came to turnovers. Things aren't going to get any easier here. As for Indiana, there wasn't much chance of them winning or even competing against Ohio State, and we got pretty much what was expected from that game. The Hoosiers did take care of the ball with 0 turnovers, however, and the offense was on the field more than one would expect from a 20-point loss. While Indiana was not great, they played against a team that was ranked 3rd in the country. They made Ohio State look rough enough that they dropped in the AP poll to 5th. Indiana showed solid defense and could have had more turnovers than they did in the game. Indiana State turned over the ball a ton. They do not have a potent offense and struggle to score. If they have more trouble on the offensive line, this game could be over quickly. This matchup should be much easier for the Hoosiers, and I think they'll take advantage. I'm probably going to stay with Indiana in this one, so the Indiana Hoosiers to cover the spread is our full game side pick. The quarterback play for Indiana was dreadful last week against Ohio State, as starter Sorsby was 8 for 1-6 passing for 58 yards, and reserve Jackson was 1 for 5 with 24 yards. They will obviously get a much worse defense this week, but that does not mean we will see a massive jump in quarterback play. I believe once the Hoosiers get a big lead, they will also let off the gas, and by this time it may be the 4th quarter already. The total is completely reliant on how much Indiana State can score. If they do not reach double digits, there is simply no way Indiana can go past the total by themselves. I like the chances of Indiana State not scoring anywhere near enough to push the score past the total. This could be a shutout this week. Under the projected total is our full game total pick. Illinois versus Kansas. The Fighting Illini from the University of Illinois will travel to Kansas to take on the Kansas Jayhawks on Friday night. Out of the Big Ten Conference, Illinois comes in at 1-0 and hopes to keep progressing from last year's successful campaign under head coach Brett Bielema. Out of the Big 12, Kansas is also 1-0 on the season. The Illinois Fighting Illini are 1-0 this season after they defeated Toledo by a score of 30-28 in their first game. Illinois trailed this game by a score of 12-7 at the half, and they fell down 19-7 early in the third quarter, but they were able to get a huge pick six that changed the momentum. Illinois scored 21 straight straight points to go up 27-19, but watched as their lead slipped away. The Fighting Illini ended up getting a game-winning field goal with 5 seconds left to avoid the loss. Illinois was outgained by a total of 416-374, and the turnover battle was tied at 1. Illinois threw for 206 yards and rushed for 168 yards, while going 3-9 on third down attempts and 2-3 on fourth downs. The Illinois defense really struggled in this game, and they were lucky to escape an upset. Luke Altmaier threw for 206 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception, while also adding 69 rushing yards. Reggie Love III rushed for 63 yards, while Pat Bryant caught 6 passes for 59 yards and 2 scores. Illinois will need to be a lot better against a Kansas team that has the ability to put up a lot of points. The Kansas Jayhawks are 1-0 this season after they defeated Missouri State by a score of 48-17 in Week 1. Kansas trailed this game 10-7 early in the second quarter, but they scored 20 straight points to lead 27-10 going into the fourth quarter. In the fourth, Missouri State cut the lead to 27-17 before Kansas scored 3 straight touchdowns to end the game. Kansas outgained Missouri State by a total of 521-217 and forced 2 turnovers in the win. The Jayhawks threw for 276 yards and rushed for 245, while going 6-11 on third down attempts. The Kansas defense played well, as they should against a team like Missouri State, and they held them to 1-9 on third down conversions. Jason Bean threw for 276 yards and 2 touchdowns, while rushing for 41 yards. Devin Neal rushed for 94 yards and 1 score, while Lawrence Arnold caught 4 passes for 77 yards in the game. The Jayhawks didn't play great to start the game, but they finished very strong in the fourth quarter. What Lance Leipold has done at Kansas over the course of the last 2+ seasons has been one of the best turnaround jobs in the country. Kansas football has been an awful program for years, but Jayhawk fans have something to be proud these days, as this Kansas team should make a bowl game for the 2nd consecutive season. Leipold and his team have molded the Jayhawks into an elite offense with tons of different motion concepts and misdirection to confuse opposing defenses. They also have the added benefit of using 2 excellent quarterbacks on their roster, with both Jalon Daniels and Jason Bean seeing great success in their appearances as a starter or in relief of the other quarterback. Daniels' elite dual threat abilities make him one of the better quarterbacks in the nation, and he'll be back under center for the Jayhawks on Friday in front of what should be a sold-out David Booth Memorial Stadium crowd. Illinois was a stout defensive team in 2022, but that success didn't translate much in the Illini season opener against a Toledo offense that doesn't pack nearly the same punch as this elite Kansas unit. Illinois struggled in the opener. They barely beat Toledo and were trailing 19-7 in the third quarter before coming back. Kansas was playing with their backup quarterback and had no problem in their opener. Jalon Daniels will return and look to put on a show, while running back Devin Neal has been a reliable back who will be able to pick up yards against this Illinois defense. There will be a great atmosphere in Lawrence. The game is nationally televised. They are wearing special black uniforms, and the Kansas faithful finally have high expectations for their team. The Jayhawks return the most experience on offense in the country this season. Even with Daniels out in Week 1, the team still produced over 500 yards of offense. Daniels may be a game-time decision, although Leipold's comments after the game suggest that Daniels didn't play in the opener more due to a lack of reps than injury. With another week under his belt, Daniels may be under center on Friday night. This would have been a more compelling matchup last year with the Illini's dominant defense that ranked 4th in the country. With several new starters, the defense struggled in Week 1 and was outgained by Toledo in the game. Toledo's offense is not nearly as dangerous as Kansas' offense, and that will be an issue for the inexperienced Illini defense. Both teams made improvements last year and were vastly improved from years past. The difference in this matchup is that Kansas is more experienced now. Furthermore, the Illini can't afford to get in a shootout in this one, as their offense simply won't be able to keep up for a full 60 minutes. It's hard to get a read on the Jayhawks after beating up on an FCS opponent, but I really didn't love what I saw from the Illini even in the win. Illinois managed to sneak out the W, but they made life a lot more uncomfortable for themselves than it needed to be. And while Jason Bean isn't Dequan Finn, the Illini had trouble with 1 dual-threat quarterbacks already, and I think this Kansas offense could be problematic for Illinois. Don't expect this Jayhawks defense to get a ton of stops, but they shouldn't need more than a couple of defensive stands to maintain a consistent lead throughout this contest. If this game takes place in a month, the outcome might be different. This early in the season, we will side with the team with the better quarterback and offensive weapons. All in all, I believe that Kansas manages to get it done at home, so the Kansas Jayhawks to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Kansas finished 2022 as the 33rd ranked offense in the country, including 40th in passing yards. With 10 returning starters, they picked up right where they left off in the opener with 48 points and 521 total yards. The Fighting Illini represent a tougher challenge than Missouri State, but this is not the 2022 squad. They allowed 28 points at home to Toledo in the season opener and were outgained by the Mudhens as well. When they're rolling, the Jayhawks can score 50-plus points against anyone. I don't think they'll get to 50 in this game, but they will produce with either Daniels or Beans under center. Illinois offense did look improved in the opener, so expect them to produce as well against a Kansas defense that was ranked just 128th in total defense last season. Kansas is going to set the tone at home in this one. Last season they averaged 36 points per game, but they also gave up 35.5 on defense. The Jayhawks put up 41 without the most dynamic quarterback they've had in years. Daniels was getting attention for the Heisman last season, and after missing their first game, he knows he will need to put up big numbers to get back in that conversation. Illinois had some success on offense with their new quarterback and will only improve as he becomes more comfortable. This is not the same Illinois defense from last season. They already gave up 28 points to Toledo. Expect both teams to score in a fast-paced game. Over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.